When we think about organizational theory in project management, what it really indicates is like how do you get the team to do as much as you can get them to do for the benefit of the project? Because you want the team to be as effective and efficient and obviously productive. Because without a team, without people, you don't really have much that can happen and that can be succeeded in your project, because there are physical resources, but then there's the human resources, and so many projects. I don't care if you're doing construction in a sewage plant or you are at a high-tech firm with all these high paid engineers. Whatever the case, you have to work with people. And the people come with different styles of working. They just have different ways of viewing the world. They have different experiences, different backgrounds, different skills. They have different personalities. And you have to try to mesh all of these different formats and styles and cultures and diversity and everything that really could be very beneficial if you cultivate it in the right way. So getting team performance out of an organization is what, it falls on your shoulders as a project manager, but it is sort of a very broad theory and discipline all amongst itself. So for the PMP exam, really what you need to recognize is that as a project manager, you need to influence the team and organize the team in such a way that they could be as productive as possible. And that means understanding their best learning styles, their best working approaches, and how the team interacts. And that means setting the right environment for it. Now, there are plenty of organizational theories out there that some, I agree, are dated. There's been many revisions. If you look through many PMP exam materials, you'll see many different theories and approaches and styles and, just common threads. But for the most part, what I want you to remember is not necessarily remembering the name of a certain theory like Herzberg or Maslow's. What's more important is that you as a project manager understand that teams are made up of people, and you need to understand how best to lead them. Sometimes you're going to need to be very strong and lead by example, especially when you have a young or inexperienced team, or you are the one with the most understanding of what needs to be done, and they are looking to you. But in many cases, you are going to be the one serving the team. You are a servant leader or democratic leader, if you want to think about it, because you need to realize that in many, especially knowledge-based projects, those projects are led and worked upon by people who are your peers. You're the subject matter expert at project management, but they are the subject matter experts at whatever we are working on as a team and for this project. So you need to trust in them. You need to allow them some input and serve them. That's why we call it servant leadership as one of these styles. Now, I'm not saying you have to always use servant leadership, but in agile project management, that really is the de facto style, is because you as a project manager are trying to clear the path. You are trying to empower them so that they can work and be productive and succeed. And likewise, then the project succeeds. So the same thing goes for traditional or plan-driven projects, because we, in that circumstances, cannot do it by ourselves. And you need to put the teams in the right environments, whether it's co-location, whether it's virtual, maybe it is just how you facilitate meetings or how you pair them up. Whatever the case is, you have to recognize that there are lots of different approaches and theories to project management, and you have to be disciplined but also flexible in how you as a project manager enable that. Because if you are just command and control, and that is faulty in the way that your team actually can optimize their productivity, well, then you have failed as a project manager. But if it is in a circumstances where you do need that kind of command and control, well, then that's when you need to apply it. So really, you have to read and understand your team. You have to understand the circumstances, understand how the organization, beyond even just your project, operates. What are the enterprise environmental factors? How do we work in this business, this corporation, this industry? And you need to accommodate. And so it's quite a lot. I know that I'm just putting in a few minute video here, but it is very important to understand that you drive a lot of that, and you should not drive it by yourself. You should be listening and communicating with your team, asking them, what is it going to be the best arrangement for us to work? How do you want communication to run? Who should facilitate? How much engagement do you want in decisions? And how much do you want me as a project manager just to make the decisions for the team, or to facilitate the different events and meetings and activities? So lots of different things that you need to think about as a project manager. There is much more that you can learn about this, but I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. And yes, you can go learn and study all those different organizational theories, but I think that would be overkill at this point. I think what's best is that you just think about how different teams work. Don't be set in one particular way, and recognize that teams need your guidance, and sometimes they don't. And you need to make it best and optimal for the team. And that means adopting and adapting to whatever the needs are. And it could change during the project. Don't feel that this is just a one time and you've decided it and that's the way it is. It requires you to be flexible and accommodating.